9th of July 2025. This is my log for my recent meditation and out-of-body experiences. It took some time to make this log because there was a lot of things going on in the school and in life in general. And now I'm back with this log of my recent experiences. Let's start with OBE 92. This took place on 30th of March 2025, and during the school I meditated for about 50 minutes, and that was 29th of March, and I slept early, about 7:30 p.m. in the evening, and my affirmations before sleeping were out of body now. I meet my guide now. Around 10 p.m. I felt that my body was very light. I didn't know if I could get out or not, so I repeated the same affirmations in my mind. Nothing happened. Then I thought of rotating, and it worked. Then I started to rotate horizontally around my navel axis. Since this one worked, I stopped and tried to roll out of my body. It worked as well. I stood next to the bed and could see the room very clearly. Then I approached the window, and there I had a feeling of dual presence, seeing both through my physical and non-physical eyes. As I opened the window, I was still seeing from this dual vision, and there I closed my physical eyes and jumped out of the window. Outside of the window, I held the tree branch and started to climb up. As I climbed up, I said on my mind, now I meet my guide. Nothing happened, and I kept on climbing. After some climbing, I stopped and then let go of the tree branch. I looked around, looked above, and saw some sort of circular structure or symbol or a portal maybe. As I was thinking about this structure, I got back to my body. I don't know what that circular structure was, but I have seen similar circles before during my out-of-body states, and I think more meditation is needed from my part. Now OBE 93. This was on 1st of April 2025, and during the day, as I remained unmoving on my bed, repeating my affirmations, out of body now, I meet my guide now, I did not change the position and remained calm. The tonal air pulsations would come and go, and I decided to let it be. Soon in the hypnagogic state, I consciously focused at a small area first, then that area expanded to become a whole new different world. So I entered into this world fully. This was the dream world. And since I knew that it was a dream, I tried to fly away or get out, and then the dream broke. Then I rolled out of my body. So this was the first exit. It was dark, but the lower part of my body, the leg, felt strongly attached to the physical body, and I got pulled back immediately in my body. The second exit, I remained unmoving, and soon I was able to roll out again. This time it felt like a dual presence. Everything was dark. I did not put much attention to it and went out of the window. Outside, I held the tree branch and said, okay, take me to my guide. Well, nothing happened. Then I moved a little forward and held the tree branch again. Then I felt something pulling me from above. After some pulling, I entered into a different place where I immediately felt somebody was doing something on my back, gently. I asked, what is this? Who is doing this? I looked behind and realized that there was my friend. Then I said to him, okay, I thought my guide was pulling me up, but anyways, doesn't matter. And I said, hello friend, thank you, and bye. I got back to my body again. Third exit. I remained unmoving, and soon I was able to get out again. This time I opened my eyes and was seeing clearly. I moved around and went out through the door. Out in the kitchen, outside my bedroom, I saw the people that I had seen in my previous OBE 86. I recognized them. They were eating something, and I said, hello. They recognized me as well. Then I said, I'm just going out to explore, and I went outside. It was a different city than where I live. Outside on the road, I met a woman. We recognized each other. I approached her and we started talking as we walked. I asked, what is your name? She said, Scanella. And I thought, well, that's a strange name. I've never heard that before. I'm Maya, I told her. Then I remembered, we've met before. And she says, yes, we have. We both remembered the same memory of my OBE 69. And she said, yes, that's the memory. She could see in my memory, and we both saw the same memory. Then we did a handshake. I told her that I tend to forget names in my OBE state, so it would be nice if she could tell me her name again later before I return, so that I could remember when I get back. She agreed and continued to ask questions. Somehow I knew she had two names. Scanella was not her proper name, because the previous time we had met, she had told me her name was Ace. So I asked, so why two different names? She says, our names can change depending on the current lesson or the guide associated with us. Then I asked, could the guide give different names according to the lesson? And she says, yes, but I like Ace, although Scanella is also my name. And then I said, the Ace I met before. And she said, that Ace. And then she laughed. After some walking, we arrived at an elevated place, a vantage point where we could see around. We sat there and continued our conversation, and after some talking, which I don't remember what we talked about, I started to shift from that place and arrived at the ashram place. I saw my master, my Guruma, and my friends. They were all sitting and meditating there. I approached Guruma and I told her about my meeting with my non-physical friends, and she says, you're experiencing something similar that I was experiencing before. She told me to communicate with a friend from Austria. She said that maybe something can be done, some program or some workshop can be organized, and after some conversation that I don't remember, I got back to my body. Now, a strange thing happened yesterday while I was talking with my friends from ashram. Two of my friends and Guruma, they are planning a visit to Austria. I did not know that. It came up yesterday during a conversation, and I was surprised because in my out-of-body state, she did tell me to contact a friend in Austria and something can be done there. And turns out they are now coming to Austria. Coincidence? I don't think so. Well, in the general comments I wrote, in this experience, I met two people that I had already met before in my OBEs. This was the question in my mind before. Is it possible to meet the same entities and continue conversations? Like meeting an old friend in the non-physical. And somehow it seems that it is possible. Now, OBE 94. OBE 94 took place on 3rd April 2025. During the day, I did not meditate in the school, and in the evening, I just lay down with affirmations on my mind, out of body now, awareness now, clarity now, and higher self now. The first exit. When I heard the tonal air pulsations, I waited calmly. Soon the ringing started. Then I rolled out of my body. I could see more or less, but when I fully opened my eyes, it felt like I was seeing from my physical eyes. So I closed my eyes and went outside of the window. As I jumped out, I held the tree branch and moved forward. Soon I heard a small baby crying towards my right side. I followed the crying and reached a window of a house. There I saw a family, a few daughters, and maybe one son. The crying baby was close to the window. I tried to comfort the baby by holding her and dancing gently while humming. She stopped crying. Then I put her down and talked with the mother and father of this baby. I do not remember what I talked about. I do not remember the conversation. Then I thought of my body and the whole scene faded away and I gradually came back. Second exit. I remained unmoving and soon I was able to exit again. This time I could clearly see. I went to the window and saw that it was closed. I couldn't open it. I thought that it should have remained open from the previous exit. But anyways, I opened it and went out. I was seeing much clearly outside. The tree was full of leaves. Suddenly the vision disappeared and it was all dark. I turned towards my left direction, moved a little forward and turned left again. Basically 180-degree rotation backwards, but after taking certain steps forward, then taking left, then after certain step forward, then taking left, and moving a little forward again. As I did that, I started to rise up. The speed was increasing gradually, and while that was happening, I was moving the energy balloon around me as well, because I didn't know what that was and I wanted to feel safe. After doing that, I started to see a very strange, small lines and colorful geometric patterns, triangular shapes coming up and going down as I was being gently raised up. Soon I was moving through this field of these patterns. I realized that I was moving through a 360-degree vision, meaning I could see everywhere at once. And after some movement, it felt that I was moving outside of the planet, and soon I was able to see the planet in front of me. And I do not know if this was Earth or some other planet, but soon I was back in my body. In the general comments, I wrote, the space with geometric field of lines and patterns, I think is not this dimension. I do not know. I do not know, where this was. But something that stuck with me is turning left in the void. This is important because in the next consecutive same experiment that I did, I forgot these key details, but somehow It seemed to work more or less. We'll come to that soon. I remember Robert Monroe mentioning something like turning towards different directions outside of the body, and he mentioned something like locale 3. I think this turning in the dark space could lead somewhere interesting. So this is what I wrote. And now OBE 95. This took place on 15th of April 2025, and the exercise was before falling asleep. I kept on repeating the affirmations on my mind: out of body now, awareness now, clarity now, and guidance now. At some point around maybe 5:30 a.m., I became aware of the tonal air pulsations followed by a continuous ringing. Then I rolled out. It was a little heavy at first. I was still attached around the legs. I did not care and kept on moving forward, opened the window, and jumped out. I expected to fall, but I didn't. It was a gentle flow outside. I remembered to turn left. This turning left was different, almost like kinesthetic movement towards left direction from where I was. I could feel this turning throughout my body. After turning 9 o'clock from my position, I moved forward a little bit and then turned 90 degrees again. Then I moved a little forward, and soon I started to rise upwards. In my mind, I thought, well, maybe this is something. It's actually working. I was excited, and soon I got back to my body. So this was the second time of turning left, moving forward, followed by turning left again and moving forward again. The result is still rising up after these 2 turns, and I wrote, I need more experiments. OBE 96 took place on 24th April 2025, and during the day I meditated for about 45 minutes. Before sleeping, I meditated with the audio Wave 1, Release and Recharge, and fell asleep. And this is from the first album, Wave 1, of the Gateway Experience audio from Monroeinstitute. The experience is that sometime around 2:32 a.m. to 3 a.m. I heard the tonal air pulsations, and if I focused on the tonal air pulsations, I would lose it. Then I tried to keep my focus away from that and away from my physical body. I did this for a few times, and then somehow I fell asleep or entered the unconscious state. And at some point I felt my body very light, then just woke up out of my body. This waking up felt like not my doing. It felt like a gentle lift up or a guide from my subconscious or my guides. The vision was very clear, and I could see the room, the door, and the window. Anyways, I approached the window, and before opening the window, I noticed an object on the window pane, which I didn't know what it was. I moved it towards the left side, then opened the window and jumped out. As I was out, I waited before deciding to do anything. Then I remembered to turn left. I rotated left towards 9 o'clock and waited. Nothing happened. I thought if I remain like this, I will be pulled back to my body. So I moved a little forward. Then I stopped to see if anything would happen. Nothing happened. Again, I thought that I could be pulled back if I don't do anything, and this time I got pulled back to my body. So since twice it did happen that forward movement, left turn, forward movement, left turn, and forward movement, that had resulted in a rising up followed by moving through a field of geometric patterns. In this one, I waited to see what would happen if I just turned and didn't do anything. I guess I found my answer. I'd just get pulled back to my body. So as I woke up, I realized that the object in the window pane is the sandwich maker that I had kept there last night. Okay, moving on. OBE 97. OBE 97 took place on 29th of April 2025. In the school, I meditated for about 38 minutes, and in the evening before sleeping, I meditated for about the same time with the same audio, Wave 1, Advanced Focus 10. Then I went to sleep, repeating my affirmations, out of body now, awareness now, then turned left. I woke up around 4 a.m., went to bathroom, came back and watched some video about coding for some time. This was to break my sleep cycle. And after some time, I went back to sleep playing Focus 10 audio on the Expand app. I lay down in Savasana posture for about 40 minutes. I was still aware, momentarily entering into hypnagogia and then returning back. I couldn't relax and kept changing my sleeping position until I entered a sleep mode. After some time, I heard a tonal air pulsation. I was not sure if I could get out because my focus on the pulsations got me excited. I relaxed and then the tonal air pulsations returned again. Once the ringing was established, I rolled out of my body. The first few exits were not that clear visually, but as I progressed more with more exit, it became more and more clear and I could see more clearly. I think there were 3 exits that I remember, but the rest happened between clicks and I still can't remember which was which. I just remember the first and the last exit. Anyways, I organized them together in my journal and here's the first exit. I rolled out of my body. It was all dark. I went out of the window. I could remember the feeling of window pane as I got out. Outside it was all dark. Nevertheless, I decided to move forward to see what would happen. I moved a little forward and stopped. Nothing much happened and I got back. Second exit. I got out again and used the same window exit. This time I continued moving forward and reached at a place where there was something like a movie festival theater or something like that. As I was walking around, I noticed that a man was following me. He wanted me to do sound for him. He wouldn't leave me alone. So I said that I would help him if he would leave me alone because I was there doing an experiment in the non-physical and he complied. Then I continued with my experiment of rotation while out of body. I turned left and felt the kinesthetic movement throughout my body. It was not as strong as my previous experiment in OBE 95. Nothing seemed to be happening. So I turned back to facing this man. He seemed to know exactly what I was doing. And he said, "So, you want to communicate with your guides?" And I said, "How do you know?" And he said, "Just by seeing what you're trying to do." And I said, "Yeah, I want to communicate." Suddenly, I heard telephone dial tone sounds, as if someone was pressing the dial numbers. Soon there was a radio-like voice coming from somewhere. This voice could not only speak to me, but also was able to send me holographic-like images of a time-space. I was shown an area of what looked like a war-torn city. They also showed me an area of what had happened, but this was a different world, just like Earth. They also gave me information about this man who was following me, and they said that he was friendly. In this communication, they gave me so much information because I kept on asking. But like all my previous experience, I forgot a lot of that. In one question, which I don't remember, the voice replied, "There is another guide who can answer you." And then again, there were dial tones. After some dial tones, I heard voices again. It was hard to hear them, so I moved around to find a perfect direction to hear them properly or to find proper reception. Maybe after some communications, I got back to my body. Third exit. I got out of my body and went out of the door this time. I went down the stairs and out of the building. A click followed. I appeared at a place which looked like it had suffered from a war. I saw some people who were trying to cross a bridge to go to work or something. The water level was high, so nobody could cross the river. They had to use the bridge. This bridge had some guards on the other side who were limiting how many people could cross the bridge at one time. I looked around and saw some vehicles and some people trying to cross. I approached 2 of the people. One was an older woman and one younger, probably her daughter. I told them that they can hold my hands and I can help them cross by hovering across the bridge. They agreed. The mother held my left arm, the daughter held my right arm, and then I jumped and glided across the bridge and gently dropped them to the ground across the bridge. Then I returned back for 2 more people, 1 man and 1 woman. But this time the guards on the bridge said, "No more for today." I felt sad for not being able to help them to cross the bridge. It felt to me that these people had to go to the other side of the bridge to do some sort of labor work in hopes of earning enough money so that they can uplift their life and move to the hill area close by where there were more sophisticated houses. A knowing came that these houses were built after the war, after the devastation, as an effort to start a new city or something. Some of the men there and we decided to check out this area. Then we started to float up and towards that hill where we were approaching buildings and saw some streets, and at that point a click followed. I found myself already out of my body in my bedroom. This time everything was very clear. I could see my reflection on the mirror and it was soft and glowing. I did not pay much attention to that and went out to the kitchen, then to the balcony and jumped outside. There I held the tree branch on the right side of the building. In the physical counterpart, there is no tree there. The branches were soft in that tree as well. I let go of the branch and did my directional turning experiment. I turned left and soon I heard some voices. Then I forgot the experiment and followed the direction of that voices. There were a man, a woman, and an elderly lady. It felt like she was the mother of either of them, and they gave me 3 names, which I forgot. While they were giving me these names, I saw that there was a TV next to them in which there were a graphical representation of a country planning to go in war with another country. A click followed and I was back in my room again. I thought I was already back in my body, but I realized that there were some things different in the room. I did a pinch test and figured out that I was not back yet. I saw my wife in the room. Something did not make sense. I felt that she was impersonating my wife, so I asked her about the rotation technique and communication with the guides. She was unable to answer anything about these things. Then, in my suspicion, I asked her in a strong tone of my voice, "Who are you? Why do you exist in my life?" Then she replied, "You are the easy and safest person to experience this life and learn from it. This was same for you. That is why we chose each other." This answer did resonate with me, because this is something that we had shared with each other in our current physical life. Then I hugged her and I said sorry. With this, I was fully back in my body. So in general comments I wrote, in these experiences, I continuously tried to get information about directional turning. I turned left and turned left without moving in the distance each time, and each time I turned left, something was happening. I will continue on this experiment and see what more I can discover. Each time I was near my physical body, I noticed the breath was very low and I could benefit from taking a big gasp of air. This confirms my previous speculations that the amount of oxygen drops in the body during these OBE states, or maybe during deep sleep states as well, or maybe during super relaxed state as well. I could also feel the heartbeat in a way that it felt like the whole body was pulsating with the heartbeat. Now, OBE 98. OBE 98 took place on 4th of May 2025. Before sleeping, I did a Focus 10 introduction exercise for about 38 minutes. Then I went to sleep immediately, playing the OBE alarm on my phone. After about 1 hour and 30 minutes, I felt that my head was doing some swaying motion. Once I realized that, it stopped. I relaxed for a moment and did the swaying motion myself. Soon, I could get out of my body. But this was not without an effort. I gradually raised my head and continued separating lower parts of my physical body. I was feeling that I could return back to my body anytime, but I kept my focus on the window and dragged myself to it. First, I thought I should be able to pass through it, but nevertheless, I opened the window. There I again thought that I could get back to my body anytime. So I jumped out quickly and held the tree branch. It was soft. I climbed up and up and up until I felt that I could remain there firmly. Then I jumped and held another tree branch and another one after that. All of them felt soft and filled with lush leaves. In the physical reality outside, there are still no grown leaves. Most of the trees have leaf sprouts at this time, not as lush as I experienced in the non-physical. Now this was back in 4th of May, and today's date is 9th of June, and at the moment leaves are everywhere. Very nice lush green leaves. So anyways, after jumping for some time, I arrived at an empty area. I thought I'd force myself to open my eyes, but I did not. I don't know why I keep on doing that. I was not able to see clearly, so from there I thought turning directionally. I turned right and continued moving forward. I should have turned right again, but I didn't. After some forward movement, I started to see a street and some buildings. I saw some people walking around. I tried to talk with them. It felt more like some of them didn't see me, some of them just didn't bother. One little girl returning home in a bicycle saw me, but it was as if she was looking through me and not looking at me directly. I somehow recognized this girl as if I was her neighbor or we had regular interactions, but in my physical reality, I do not know her. As I was trying to speak, it felt like I could not move my mouth, so I shifted to speak mentally. I told her that I was out of my body, exploring around, and thought if anyone could see me. She said she can see me, but I'm flickering. It looked like she was getting a little afraid of seeing a ghost-like figure, so I said thank you and went away from there. Soon I arrived at a city park-like area surrounded by fence. I hovered across the fence and climbed a tree. It had spiky branches and looked like a pine tree. I went to the top and suddenly it felt a little strange. I realized that my pants were falling. I thought this was strange and yet continued to fix it. Then from the top I saw other trees that were taller than that, taller than the one I was on. So I quickly jumped to one of the tall trees and saw a circular sitting area with an umbrella-like top or roof. I jumped to that roof. There I felt more stable. I looked around and saw a moon on the sky, and there I was almost about to get back, but I soon moved away from there to not get back and remain myself there. I went towards a house and hovered to the top of that house, and near there I saw two people quarreling in front of a shop. I went down towards them, one elderly woman and one elderly man. He was drunk and fighting with his wife, the elderly woman. First I approached the woman and realized that the man was causing trouble. Then I went to the man and pulled him away from that woman. We talked a bit and agreed that we could take him to some place. I did not know what that place was at that time. As we started to go away from there, we were talking that he shouldn't be drinking so much. It wouldn't be very helpful nor very healthy for him. But he wasn't listening at all. I noticed that the woman somehow knew that I was in the physical life. So she asked me, "But how are you here? How do you know that we were fighting?" I told her that I was meditating, and she asked, "How is your meditation going?" I said, "It is going well. I was meditating and I heard your voices, so I came out of my body to help you guys." And she said, "That is very nice of you." The man, however, did not believe that I came out of my body, so I told him that I could prove it. I held him and we started to rise a little bit from the ground and then came back down. At first he was a little bit scared or was unsure about who I was and what I was doing. I myself was not sure what I was doing. Soon we arrived at a place. It was a fenced graveyard with a small gate. I asked myself, why are we in a graveyard? But I didn't want to show my confusion to them. We put the man next to the fence. He asked, "Where is the help center? Where is the hospital?" Then suddenly, out of my own surprise, I said, "This is the health center. This is the hospital. If you keep on drinking continuously like this is where you will end up." He did not believe me. He thought I was joking. At the same time, we saw 3 other men bringing their own 3 men out of the graveyard gate. At that moment, I understood I was doing what they were doing. But I did not know what that was, what we were doing. I just understood that I was doing the same thing that they were doing. We were indeed helping them. This thought came to me. Seeing them, the old man felt something, and he said that he will stop drinking and stop making troubles. Along the way, I remembered 2 children with us who did not interact with us. They just kept following us. At that point, I felt that I was being pulled back. I knew that I could have stayed there or tried to remain there, but this time I thought that it's okay to be back since there was already a lot of information to be brought back. So I got back. This whole experience happened over 1 hour, 38 minutes into the 7.5 hours of OBE Alarm. I don't know which locale, according to Robert Monroe, I was in. I thought about it. Maybe it was locale 2, but how do I go to locale 2 from locale 1? This has always been a mystery to me. Maybe future experiences will give me answers. Now, OBE 99. OBE 99 took place on 6th May 2025, and the night before falling asleep, I lay down in Savasana posture and tried to completely relax, taking slow breaths. After some point, my knee started to become really uncomfortable. I tried as much as possible not to move, but I couldn't resist at all. So I changed my position. I was continuously trying to repeat my affirmations in my mind, but since I was coding all day long, vibe coding, my mind was repeating codes, and that was really distracting me. Occasionally, I would visualize myself being somewhere else and relax my mind. I also checked for stress points throughout my body and mentally asked these points to relax. And at some point, I fell asleep. During the night, I heard my voice in the OBE alarm. Immediately, I tried to get up and it worked. I got out of my body. I was able to open an eye. The other was difficult to open because of proximity effect. I approached the window and opened it and jumped out. Everything was clearly visible. I had struggled to open both eyes until I was out of the window. Then it wasn't a problem. Outside, I said to myself, okay, I want to go visit my wife. Please take me to my wife. Then a certain force gently pulled me from behind. I started to rise and saw the ground and buildings go away from me. The direction of the pulling changed. It changed from backwards to forward. In my previous such experiences, I was pulled from behind whenever I had asked to take me somewhere. I remembered this and thought that I should be pulled from behind. At that point, I started to float down and I saw a black circular area above me. As I saw that, I stopped moving. I turned around and saw a ferry docked at the port. Then I said to myself, okay, we need to go that direction. Helsinki should be that direction. This force again started to pull me gently forward towards the port, but soon I got back. In the general comments I wrote, I should have let this energy, whoever or whatever was pulling me, to continue to pull me without confusions. I should have just let it pull me and see what would happen. I shouldn't have stopped and changed the direction myself. I think I need to trust this force more, because as of now, I know that this force or this energy knows more than I do. This is a reminder for me for the future. Now, OBE 100. This took place on 25th of May 2025, and it had been many weeks that I had not had any OBE experience due to my extremely busy schedule. I was not able to meditate, and my days were ending very, very late, and the previous night I had slept with just the OBE alarm. It must be around 4 a.m. in the morning that I had just changed my sleeping position, and I got fully aware of my body and my room. I lay on my bed without moving, and soon the ear pulsations started. I got aware about it, and it stopped. Then I put my thoughts and my visualizations away from my body and my room. The tonal ear pulsations returned again. Soon I reached the in-between state. I heard the TEP followed by a continuous ringing. Then I tried to get out of my body, but I was locked inside. I couldn't move. I was having a sleep paralysis. I tried to move my toes, then legs, then my hands, my chest, head. Nothing worked. Then I forced my head to move. It worked, but it also broke the sleep paralysis state, and I was fully back or fully integrated into my physical body. Then my physical head was moving. Now this is particularly interesting because I had never entered to the sleep paralysis state knowingly or consciously, and not that soon into the relaxation state or sleep state. Probably all of my OBEs followed by the tonal ear pulsations did have this state before, or maybe this is normal, but I never experienced that because I was not there. I was out of my body. This time I was inside. It felt like I was locked in. There was no fear, just curiosity about what had happened and how I could get out of my body in that situation. Now OBE 101. OBE 101 took place on 27th of May 2025. The night before, I meditated with Advanced Focus 10 audio and immediately went to sleep, repeating the affirmations, out of body now, I meet my guide now, please take me to my wife in her conscious dream. Around 2:30, I had an OBE. First, there were tonal ear pulsations, and once the ringing was established, I got out of my body. Everything was dark. I went to the window and opened it. I had a slight doubt that I could be in my physical body, and I just brushed this thought off and continued to jump out. What I thought was, if I have to doubt, most probably I'm in the non-physical state. Or when I'm in my physical body, I most certainly can 100% confirm that because the body feels heavy. So this was the thought, and I just brushed it off and jumped out. Outside, I immediately raised my hand to hold the tree branch. This time, the branch was much closer to the window. The branch was very soft and filled with leaves. I started to climb the branch while saying to myself, take me to my wife. After climbing for a few moments, the vision became clear as a place started to form around me. I was standing in the narrow alley close to where we used to live in Ratopul in Kathmandu. I was still holding something in my hand. This tree branch had changed to a rope made with beads, and part of the beads were in my hand, and the rope seemed to be coming from the ground. I remembered that I was wanting to go visit my wife, and with this thought in mind, I kept on pulling the rope from the ground and followed the direction where this rope was leading me. I walked towards the end of this narrow alley and reached to the river, Dobikola. This river flows from north to south. The rope was going south, so I followed the rope, pulling it out off the ground in each step. Soon I reached the bridge, Ratopul, hence the name of the area. The rope turned east, and so I continued moving with the rope. And after the edge of the road, the bridge was behind me, and the rope was going further towards east. But I wanted to go towards west. through the bridge. I wanted to cross the bridge and go towards west. And in this confusion, I got back in my body. Now, I think I know where the confusion came from in this experience. I think in my current physical reality, my wife lives in Helsinki, which is towards the west direction. But while I was living in Ratapul as a child, she was living in the east direction. Even if I was in that time frame, my current consciousness knew that she is at the west direction. So, you see, this was the confusion. Maybe I need to start paying attention to the timelines when I am taken back to places I've lived before. Maybe I need to take my analyzing mind while I'm out of my body. This has been my recent experiences, and there are 3 more experiences which I have not logged in my journal. So I should do that first before making a video log. And in these 100+ experiences so far, I have realized that there is a vast amount of, infinite possibilities that we can experience as a conscious beings or beings of consciousness, of which being human is one part. This is fun. This is really fun. Well, see you after the next experience.